But I want to bring in Prince Aliyu Audu, in Abuja's studio into the conversation. Dr. Paul said something that I find very striking. He mentioned, something about the good old days. And when you speak to Nigerians who as old as maybe between 40 to 60, 70, 80, those who were born from in the 1980s, or early 90s downward, you would hear the conversation around the good old days. He has talked about he wants to see a better Nigeria. I know we're a religious country. We are very prophetic when we speak. Nobody wants to see a better yesterday. But in terms of where we are as a nation, do you also think that we share the story of good old days?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I believe we had the good old days. Let's not forget that when we got our independence, Nigeria became independent and we started from afresh. So as we started from afresh, we need a period of time, a gestation period, that we can get ourselves together, grow our industries, create employment, so on and so forth. And that is the period of the 70s and the 80s. And now, during that time, you will understand that I think Nigeria was more prosperous in the sense that we had more industries in Nigeria. If you look at it, we had in the 80s, we had the Peugeot, we had the textile industries, we had the Volkswagen. I remember when I saw a video when President Gowon commissioned the Volkswagen plant in Lagos. We had different industry. We had Leventis. We had the Naira was stable and strong. We had Nigerian Airways. So those actually were the good old days because then things were moving. We had industries and a lot was moving in different parts of Nigeria, be it the north or the south. We had the granite pyramids and agriculture was thriving. I think at some point we're supplying 20 to 30% of the world cocoa. We had rubber in Sapele. So Nigeria was booming then, and we were moving somewhere. Well, that is the 80s, the good old 80s, and possibly early 90s. But that is not the story now, and that's what we're talking about. Now, normally, if you compare us to our peers, like the BRICS countries, for example, Malaysia, Singapore, so on and so forth, they were also at that point that they were striving and trying to get things into place. And if you compare both countries now, they've gone very far ahead of us. So I don't think it's, the 80s was a good time, but we should have progressed in terms of growing. But the growth has stopped. The industries that we used to have, instead of having more industries, we have lost those industries. Instead of having more production in terms of agricultural production, we have lost that. Currently, we are a consuming country with a food import bill of over $10 to $15 billion a year. We import sugar, we import meat, we import milk, so on and so forth. So that's not the state we want to be in. We want to be in a better state. So yes, the 80s was good, and we should be progressing like our peers in other countries have progressed. But that is not what we're seeing now. And that's why I think people are measuring us against these indices. We shouldn't be lying to ourselves. And that is where we should be. That is our stop line. We need to progress. We need to keep moving. We need to develop industries. We should have more industries, create more employment, and develop the different facets of the economy. That's not what we are saying, and that's why a lot of people are concerned. And this is not just a thing of one government. It's been a progressive thing since series of governments. So we need to get our acts together, no doubt. Obviously, the current administration government is
because you mentioned the
you cannot
Prince Audu,
put all the weight on just one government.
Because you mentioned the current government, I just want to sort of go back to the speech made by, or the broadcast by President Bola Tinubu, where he said, at the beginning of that broadcast, that we have not strayed too far from the ideals of, he used the word forebearers, again, which would be founding fathers. And just juxtaposing that with what you just said in terms of having lost all of the industries that we used to have, whether in the textile, the agricultural industry, do you agree with the statement made by the president that we have not strayed too far from the ideals of our forebears?
Yes, of course, we haven't. We haven't because, we are still dependent on oil. We haven't reached where we're supposed to be. Agriculture, we have enough agricultural land, according to African Development Bank, to be able to feed the whole of Africa and even export. But that's not what we're saying. We are a net importer of food. We import food, sugar, and so on and so forth. So the dream of the founding fathers that fought for Nigeria, this is not where we're expected to be. He's very correct. And it's not something of one government. It's a series of government over a period of 65 years. The burden cannot be put on one government, so we can't blame President Tinubu for what we're seeing now. He's trying his best. He removed subsidy. This should have been removed a very long time ago. We don't even have functioning refineries. I mean, we now have Dangote refinery, which is making, reducing the pressure on the dollar and making fuel available. The long queues and so on and so forth have gone. So my point is, we are still not there. We need to get there. This is not where we're supposed to be. We are supposed to go further than this. And we are not the manufacturing countries. We import cars. What happened to Peugeot? Innocent Motors, we don't support, we are not giving it the amount of support in terms of policy that we should. Like back in the 80s, we gave, there were policies that government official cars had to be made, Peugeot, which was made in Nigeria, thereby creating jobs. We're not saying that now. Majority of our official cars are Toyota. What this is doing is that you're taking your money, you're working very hard for your money, and taking it and giving it to another country, Japan, that makes Toyota, and creating jobs for their people. We have to look into our policies. They are not friendly to our own country, and we are not growing. So these are the things we need to look at if we need to get to where we want to get to. If we want to get to where our founding fathers want us to get to. So we need to rethink the economy in a lot of ways.
All right, so